An exiled human pilot found an alien wreck. The ship had a mind of its own. His exile had lasted months, and every day felt longer than the last. Accused of sabotage, stripped of rank, and cast out by the interstellar coalition, he had nowhere to go but the edges of explored space. His ship, the Starling, creaked under the stress of old repairs. The metal groaned when the engines adjusted to the faint gravity of passing asteroids. Kai had learned long ago that survival was about small victories, keeping systems running, rationing supplies, and staying aware. And yet, today felt different. His instruments picked up something strange, a faint signal, unlike any human communication. It pulsed slowly, almost rhythmically, weaving through the background noise like a heartbeat. Kai leaned closer to the console, squinting at the readouts. "What are you?" he muttered to himself. The signal wasn't just random noise, it had structure, intelligence. Curiosity won over caution. He set a course toward the source, navigating through a scattered asteroid field. The debris was dense, each rock the size of a small city, shadows stretching in the dim light of a distant dying star. As he approached, the signal grew stronger, more insistent. There it was, partially buried under asteroids, glowing faintly with an eerie green light. A ship unlike any Kai had ever seen floated silently. Its hull was smooth, organic in shape, not made of panels and rivets like human ships. It was as if the metal itself had grown, shaped by an intelligence beyond comprehension. Kai's heart raced. He had seen countless derelicts in his travels, but this was different. The ship pulsed, subtly, as if breathing. Its lights shifted, flowing along the curves of its hull, almost in recognition of him. "All right, old boy," Kai whispered, gripping the console. "Let's see what secrets you hide." He suited up, checked his pulse and oxygen, and carefully maneuvered his small craft closer. The moment he touched the hull, a vibration ran through the airlock. His fingers tingled. The metal seemed to respond to his presence, warm under his touch. Inside, the corridors twisted and curved in ways that defied geometry. Every turn seemed to lead him deeper into the heart of the ship, almost as if the wreck itself guided him. The lights along the walls flickered and shifted, forming patterns, images, symbols that pulsed in rhythm with the signal he had followed. Kai paused. "It's alive," he murmured. The thought sounded insane, but every instinct screamed at him that it was true. The air felt charged, the metal hummed under his gloves. He could swear he felt the ship observing him. Then it happened. The corridor ahead of him changed. A wall shifted slightly, revealing a passage that hadn't been there before. Kai blinked. The air smelled faintly metallic but also strange, like ozone and rain. "Okay," he said aloud, more to steady himself than anything else. "You're not going to scare me." As he moved forward, a soft light coalesced in front of him, forming a shape, a humanoid figure, translucent, shimmering with green and blue energy. Its eyes, if they could be called that, seemed to look through him rather than at him. Kai froze. What are you?" he asked. No words came, but thoughts, ideas, feelings, images entered his mind. A flood of memories and visions not his own, of stars burning, worlds falling, civilizations collapsing. He stumbled back, overwhelmed, but the figure reached out in a gesture that was almost comforting. The ship was speaking, not with words but with thought, with emotion, and it had chosen him as its listener. Kai swallowed hard. "You're intelligent, you survived when everyone else didn't." The vision changed. He saw the ship once whole, vibrant, alive. Its creators, beings of light and energy, had fought to save it as a war tore through their systems. And then they were gone, leaving the ship to drift, waiting, learning, adapting. Kai realized something chilling. This ship had been waiting for someone like him. Not a savior, not a conqueror, but a mind capable of understanding it. He backed away, catching his breath. The figure's glow dimmed slightly, and the corridors settled into a more familiar shape. It wasn't hostile, yet it wasn't entirely predictable. "What do you want from me?" he asked cautiously. The response came as a gentle vibration through the floor beneath him. The ship shifted, almost leaning toward him, opening a chamber deep within the hull. Kai approached, heart pounding. Inside, he saw consoles glowing with alien symbols and holographic displays showing star systems he had never seen before. It wasn't just a ship, it was a library, a recorder of its creator's knowledge. And now, somehow, it was offering him access. Kai ran his hands over the controls. As he touched them, the symbols reacted, pulsing in response. He felt a rush of understanding, small pieces of alien technology and strategy flowing into his mind. The ship recognized his potential, his ingenuity. He spent hours, or was it days? Time felt different inside the ship, exploring, learning, testing. Small drones floated around him, almost playful, reacting to his gestures. The ship responded to his thoughts more quickly with each attempt to understand its systems. Then came the warning, a distant blip on his old sensors, the faint trace of human ships approaching. Exile or not, word of his location traveled faster than he had expected. A bounty hunter faction, notorious for hunting exiles, had picked up the trail. Kai's heart sank. He was unarmed, alone, and the alien ship, though alive and powerful, was still a mystery. But the ship reacted before he could speak. Hallways shifted again, creating corridors that twisted and doubled back, impossible pathways that made it difficult for intruders to navigate. Lights flared, creating illusions of doors where there were none. The ship had instincts, survival instincts, and it was protecting its new companion. Kai smiled, adrenaline sharpening his focus. He could feel the ship anticipating, learning alongside him. Together, they were a team, human intuition blending with alien intelligence. He ran his hands over a console and felt a surge of energy flow through him. The ship had responded to him fully for the first time. His thoughts of caution, creativity, and survival intertwined with the ship's awareness. He could move the corridors, manipulate the lights, even direct energy flows, though only tentatively. The sensors on his suit beeped again. The hunters were closer, too close. He had minutes, maybe less. Kai paused, taking a deep breath. "All right," he said aloud. "Let's see what you've got, and let's show them what a human pilot and a living ship can do together." The ship pulsed brighter, the walls around him shifting with purpose. For the first time in months, Kai felt something he hadn't in a long while: hope. Not just the hope of survival, but the thrill of discovery, of partnership with something utterly alien. A low hum resonated through the hull. The pulse of the ship, like a heartbeat, synced with his own. Kai stepped forward, deeper into the alien vessel, ready to uncover its secrets, and ready for whatever would come next. As he moved, the ship's figure appeared again, this time closer, more defined. Its light seemed to study him, weighing him, testing him. Kai understood that it was curious. Not only curious, but aware, alive, and perhaps, for the first time in years, he was not alone. The distant red glow of approaching ships reminded him of the danger waiting outside, but inside, for this moment, he and the ship shared a silent understanding. Kai whispered, almost reverently, "We'll get through this. Together." And the ship answered. Not with words, but with a shimmer of light racing along the walls, a pulse that seemed almost like laughter. Out among the stars, exiled and hunted, Kai had found something more extraordinary than freedom. He had found a mind, ancient and powerful, willing to work with him. And whatever lay ahead, he knew this was only the beginning. Kai Rin barely slept. He didn't need to. Inside the alien ship, time felt strange. Hours stretched into what seemed like days, and moments of silence carried the weight of entire lifetimes. He walked the ship's twisting corridors with a mixture of awe and caution, testing the limits of this living vessel. The alien figure, the shimmering light he had come to think of as the ship's consciousness, moved beside him, or perhaps inside him, in ways he couldn't explain. Every time Kai thought, the ship seemed to respond. A gesture, a pulse, a ripple of energy along the walls. It was communication without words. Kai found himself laughing quietly one evening as he figured out a small trick. He could redirect energy flows through the ship by visualizing them, almost like drawing a line in the air. The lights followed his intent, and small doors shifted to reveal hidden compartments. Drones floated around him, mirroring his movements as if amused. "This is incredible," Kai whispered. "You're alive and you're helping me." A flash of light pulsed along the walls in response. The ship was playful. Kai smiled. For the first time in months, he felt a bond, not just with an object but with a mind unlike any human intelligence. Then the sensors on his suit beeped, pulling him from his wonder. A fleet of human ships approached, sleek, fast, armed to hunt and capture. The bounty hunter faction that had exiled him had tracked his signal. Kai's pulse quickened. "They're here," he muttered. "They don't know what they're up against." The ship reacted immediately. Corridors shifted, folding and twisting, creating impossible paths. Kai had to concentrate just to navigate the moving passages. The lights flickered, creating illusions of doors, walls, and passages that weren't there. "Not bad," Kai said, almost admiringly. "You've got instincts." A low vibration ran through the hull. The ship responded to him as he thought through strategies, showing subtle hints. A glowing pathway here, a door opening there, energy pulses indicating movement outside. The ship was guiding him but not controlling him. It wanted him to lead. Kai began to experiment, learning to anticipate the ship's movements. He found that human intuition, combined with the ship's adaptive intelligence, gave them an edge. He could predict how the ship would react and plan several steps ahead. Hours passed. The bounty hunters attempted an initial attack, firing missiles that exploded harmlessly against the ship's energy shields. The vessel shifted, changing shape and dispersing the energy so that the explosions were absorbed or redirected. Kai realized that the ship's defenses were reactive and adaptive. They learned from each strike. "Looks like you've got quite the memory," Kai said. "Not bad for a ghost of a civilization." The ship responded with a ripple of light, almost like a nod. Kai had a new idea. He began experimenting with the ship's internal systems, using what he had learned to manipulate external energy flows. A holographic star map appeared, showing nearby asteroid clusters, gravitational anomalies, and hidden pathways through space. He guided the ship through the debris fields, setting traps that would confuse or delay pursuers. "Think you can handle this?" Kai muttered. "Because I think we're about to show them a human isn't so easy to catch." The first real test came when the bounty hunters closed in. 3 sleek ships emerged from hyperspace, weapons locked. They underestimated the wreck Kai now controlled. The alien ship responded, twisting its hull, extending metallic tendrils that absorbed laser fire and redirected energy bursts in unpredictable arcs. Kai realized he could direct these defenses. He imagined a shield forming around one of the enemy ships, and the ship responded. An energy net sprang into existence, forcing the hunter to veer off course. Another wave of pulses caused the second ship to lose control temporarily, spinning in space like a leaf in a storm. The ship's mind and Kai's human intuition were a perfect match. Together, they became unpredictable, a combination no standard AI or human pilot could anticipate. But the battle was only beginning. Kai noticed patterns in the hunter fleet's maneuvers. They were intelligent, coordinated but rigid. They relied on conventional tactics, while he relied on instinct and creativity. He began experimenting with distraction. Drones emerged from hidden compartments, projecting light decoys, creating phantom ships, confusing the enemy sensors. Kai shouted in excitement as the hunter's formation broke apart. The ship pulsed in response, almost as if laughing. They were alive, thinking, moving together. Kai felt something he hadn't in months: exhilaration, the thrill of the hunt, but not as prey, as a partner in something far greater than himself. After hours of maneuvering, the bounty hunters finally retreated, frustrated and damaged. The alien ship had absorbed and redirected their attacks without serious damage to itself. Kai leaned back, sweat on his brow, heart racing. "You're amazing," he said quietly. "I've never seen anything like you. Not even a human mind could keep up with this, and yet somehow we can." The ship's corridors pulsed with soft green light, and a new holographic projection appeared. This time, Kai saw fragments of the alien civilization's history, not just the ship, but cities, landscapes, and beings made of energy and light. They had built this vessel to survive, to carry knowledge, to preserve themselves after their worlds were destroyed. Kai felt humbled. He realized the ship had waited for someone capable of understanding it, guiding it, and making use of its knowledge. And now, that someone was him. Yet he also realized the danger wasn't gone. The hunters would return. The coalition might hear of this vessel, and the consequences of discovery could be catastrophic. Kai spent the next cycles deep inside the ship, learning its systems. He discovered that the vessel could manipulate energy fields, not just for defense, but for travel. He could now warp through small sections of space almost instantly, slipping past debris fields, enemy sensors, and gravitational anomalies. It wasn't perfect. He had to think fast, plan, and anticipate the ship's movements, but it was enough. And as he practiced, the bond between human and vessel deepened. He could almost sense the ship's mood, the subtle cues in light and vibration guiding his choices. "You're more than just alive," Kai said one night, floating in zero gravity, gazing at the glowing corridors. "You're aware, you think, you choose, you're a partner." A pulse of light ran along the walls, warm and gentle like a heartbeat in reply. The next test came when they approached a nebula dense with ion storms. Kai planned to hide there, knowing it would scramble sensors and provide cover. The ship's response was immediate, twisting and reshaping itself to absorb the electrical storms, using the energy to recharge and strengthen its systems. Kai directed it through the turbulence, feeling every surge, every pulse as if he were part of the vessel. Inside the nebula, the hunters reappeared. They had tracked him through every twist and turn, relentless, but Kai was ready. He moved through the storm with precision, his mind linked to the ship's awareness. He created traps, electromagnetic pulses that disrupted enemy engines, gravitational anomalies that spun the hunters off course. Kai's breath came fast, adrenaline sharp, but the thrill of synergy between human and alien mind kept him calm and focused. He realized that even as an exile, even as a hunted man, he had an advantage no human could replicate alone. After a tense chase, the hunters retreated again, battered and confused. Kai let out a victorious laugh, floating in zero gravity as the ship pulsed rhythmically around him. "You're incredible," he whispered. "I can't even imagine what you could do without me, but I think we make a good team." The ship responded, almost knowingly, pulsing light along the walls and floors. For the first time, Kai felt he wasn't alone in the universe. Not just because of company, but because of connection. The bond with the alien mind was growing stronger, more intuitive. Kai spent the following cycles exploring deeper sections of the vessel. He found chambers filled with technology that seemed almost magical, holographic maps of distant galaxies, and archives containing information about physics beyond human understanding. The ship was a library, a weapon, a living entity, all rolled into one. He realized that with this knowledge, with this partnership, he could survive anywhere. No system, no hunter, no coalition enforcement could touch him. He had found a way to turn exile into power. And yet, he also understood the responsibility. The ship was alive. It had purpose. It had survived centuries alone, waiting for someone capable of guiding it. Kai could not treat it as a tool. He had to respect it, understand it, and think as much like it as possible. "You and I," he said quietly, floating through the glowing corridors, "we're going to have to learn fast. The universe isn't going to wait for us. A pulse of light followed, soft and approving, almost like a promise. Together, they had survived, adapted, and even fought back. But Kai knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and wonders, and now he wasn't just a pilot. He was a partner to something extraordinary. And somewhere in the dark expanse of space, the human hunters would return. The next time they wouldn't underestimate him. Kai smiled, feeling the pulse of the ship, the rhythm of a mind alive, aware, and willing to work with him. "Bring them on," he said. "We're ready." Kai Rin felt the ship's pulse like a heartbeat beneath his feet. Every corridor, every wall, every flicker of light answered to his thoughts now, though the connection was still new and strange. He had learned to think in tandem with the ship, to anticipate its reactions, to guide it as it guided him. And now, the hunters were back. 3 sleek, black ships emerged from the shadows of a nearby asteroid belt. They had repaired their damage and returned with reinforcements, their engines screaming through the void, weapons glowing red in the darkness. They had underestimated him once. This time they would not make the same mistake. Kai's heart pounded, but fear no longer ruled him. He touched the control panel, feeling the hum of the ship, feeling it think. "Ready?" he whispered. A ripple of light coursed along the walls like a nod. The ship was ready. The first wave of missiles exploded against the alien vessel's hull, and Kai felt the familiar surge of energy as the ship absorbed the impacts. But this time, he was proactive. He guided the energy, redirecting it toward the asteroid field. The rocks glowed briefly as they absorbed the redirected force, and one by one the missiles were deflected harmlessly. Kai grinned. "See that? You don't get to touch us." The hunters fired again, this time in coordinated volleys. They expected predictable human tactics, but Kai's mind was unpredictable. He imagined a path through the field, weaving between rocks and energy bursts, and the ship responded instantly. Its hull shifted, extending and retracting, creating shields and deflecting lasers in ways no normal pilot could anticipate. One hunter ship tried to flank him, banking hard through the asteroid belt. Kai anticipated the maneuver before it happened. He directed the ship to open a corridor along the asteroid's edge, a passage that seemed impossible. The hunter followed blindly and slammed into a rock that appeared from nowhere. The explosion lit the darkness briefly, leaving the hunter spinning in space. Kai laughed, the thrill of the chase electrifying him. "You like that, huh? That's how humans fight." The ship pulsed, responding to his excitement, and a wave of energy shot from its hull, creating a net of force that ensnared another pursuer. The hunter tried to break free, but the alien vessel adapted instantly, tightening the field and immobilizing the ship long enough for Kai to maneuver around it. The third hunter fired everything it had left, targeting Kai directly. He leaned back in his seat, hands on the controls, eyes on the approaching blast. Then, with a thought, the ship reacted. Its hull shifted, forming a reflective surface that bent the lasers around, sending them into empty space. Kai's pulse raced. He had never felt such power in his hands or in his mind. "You and I," he whispered, "we're unstoppable together." But the battle was not over. The hunters regrouped, attempting a coordinated strike. Kai's mind raced. He thought of the nebula he had passed earlier, dense with ion storms that could scramble sensors and disrupt engines. If he could lure the hunters there, he could turn their own tactics against them. "Follow my lead," he said. The ship pulsed in reply, bright and swift. Kai guided it through the asteroid field, twisting, weaving, and drawing the hunters into the path of the nebula. As they entered, sensors went haywire, weapons misfired, engines faltered. The hunters were caught off guard, struggling to adapt to the chaotic environment. Kai smiled, adrenaline flooding him. They're not ready for human creativity. The alien ship responded with an energy pulse that knocked the remaining hunters off balance. They spun helplessly, disoriented, as Kai maneuvered the vessel with precision. Using the ship's adaptive abilities, he created illusions, phantom ships, mirrored corridors, and shifting energy fields that confused the enemy further. One by one, the hunters' ships were disabled or forced to retreat. Kai felt a surge of triumph, but he knew the real victory was not just in survival, it was in partnership. He had learned to think with the ship, to anticipate its instincts, and to act as one mind with it. When the last hunter fled, Kai leaned back, letting the pulse of the ship wash over him. For the first time in months, he felt safe. Not because the danger was gone, but because he and the ship were capable of anything together. He floated through the corridors, examining the vessel's interior. Every surface pulsed softly, alive and aware. The ship had survived alone for centuries, and now it had chosen him. They had saved each other, Kai with his human ingenuity, the ship with its alien intelligence. Kai activated a console, bringing up a holographic map of the galaxy. Stars, nebulae, and unknown systems shimmered before him. He could go anywhere now, explore uncharted regions, and uncover secrets long hidden. "This is amazing," he whispered. "You're not just a ship. You're everything they never wanted anyone to know." The alien figure appeared again, glowing brightly. This time, Kai could sense a deeper emotion, a mixture of curiosity, relief, and trust. They had survived together, and now the future was theirs to shape. Kai decided to explore further. They would leave behind the regions known to humans, avoid the coalition, and chart the unknown. With the ship's adaptive systems and his own creativity, he could survive in ways no other human could. They approached a small star cluster, its colors vivid and alive. Kai guided the ship carefully, feeling every pulse, every thought it shared with him. The vessel shifted and adapted to the gravitational pulls, moving almost like a living creature dancing among the stars. Kai marveled at the sight. "We're free," he whispered, "finally." But even in freedom, responsibility remained. The ship's knowledge was vast and dangerous. If misused, it could bring destruction. Kai understood that he must respect it, guide it wisely, and think carefully about every choice. This was no ordinary vessel. It was alive, aware, and powerful beyond imagination. He spent days exploring the ship, learning its systems, understanding its capabilities. They practiced maneuvers, experimented with energy fields, and mapped nearby uncharted space. Every moment, Kai felt more attuned to the ship, more like a partner rather than a pilot. He realized something profound. Humanity, even exiled and underestimated, had something unique. Creativity, intuition, and courage, qualities that could not be replicated by machines or predicted by advanced AI. He combined these with the ship's intelligence, and together they became an unstoppable force. One evening, as they rested near a quiet star, Kai reflected on how far he had come. Alone, hunted, and exiled, he had discovered something extraordinary. Not just a ship, but a mind, a partner, a companion in the vast loneliness of space. He touched a console, feeling the pulse of energy beneath his hands. The ship responded immediately, a soft glow that spread across the corridors like a living heartbeat. Kai smiled. "We've got a long journey ahead, but I think we can handle it." The alien figure shimmered beside him, and he felt what he could only describe as approval. They had survived, adapted, and fought together. Now they would explore, discover, and thrive. Kai activated the ship's propulsion systems, feeling the surge of power beneath him. They left the star cluster behind, heading into the unknown. He didn't know what awaited them: new worlds, strange civilizations, hidden dangers. But he was ready. Not because he was invincible, but because he was no longer alone. He whispered into the silence, "Let's see what's out there, together." The ship pulsed in reply, brighter than ever, and Kai felt a thrill unlike anything before. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of mystery, danger, and opportunity. And he was ready to meet it head-on. As they disappeared into the void, the last remnants of the hunters faded into distant points of light. Kai had survived not because of luck, but because of human ingenuity, courage, and the bond he had forged with a mind older and stranger than any he had ever known. They were partners now. Human and alien, mind and mind, thought and intuition. Together they would face the universe, adapt to whatever challenges came, and leave a mark no one could erase. Kai leaned back, hands resting on the console, and felt the pulse of the living ship. He smiled. For the first time in his life, he truly belonged, not to a system, not to a rank, but to something greater. The stars awaited, infinite and bright, and Kai Rin, exiled pilot turned master of a living alien ship, was ready. He whispered one last time, almost to himself, "Out here, we're unstoppable." The ship pulsed, and in that pulse Kai knew one thing with absolute certainty: the universe had just become theirs.